Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Welcome back to In the Side of the Storm, where we talk all things Cyclones. We are live from the AKC Marketing Studio with Andrew Downs and sponsored by Revelton Distillery out of Osceola, Iowa, and Dan Douglas with Green Beret Realty. I'm Dave Larson, here with my Storm Team partner and Cyclone great, the legend himself, Marcus Fizer. Marcus, how are you?
I'm doing good, Dave. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I think we keep texting Brent, Mr. Vintage. We expect him to join us here shortly if he's able to. He's busy guy with the shop in the holidays. This is their busy time of year, so hopefully he'll be able to jump on. Boy, we've got a lot to talk about since our last show with all of the basketball and obviously football coming up this weekend. Where do you want to get started?
Oh, anywhere, it doesn't matter. Excited about it all. We've been playing some really, really good sports here of late, and coming into the nervous time of the football schedule. So we can pretty much start there if you want.
All right. Well, hey, before we get maybe started, I want to give a shout out to Revelton here. So you know how in the Midwest we have to change our oil blends from the summer blend to the winter blend. I think gas is the same way. So I changed my mulberry gin out for the whiskey cream liqueur.
Yeah, it's been a little while since I had to do that. We're still sitting at about 70 degrees out here, so.
Good. Turn off my phone there so I don't get more alerts. Yeah, it's that time of year, and then I wanted to point this out. So I picked this up today. What do you think of that?
That's cool. What's in there?
Well, I believe it's a blonde ale beer.
Oh, wow.
Called Hilton Magic.
That is dope.
There's no sponsorship here, but I couldn't resist. So I was in the local liquor store and picked up some more Revelton and thought, okay, being a Cyclone guy, I've got to pick it up and try it. So we'll see how it tastes.
I wonder if they can ship me some of that.
It's a blonde ale. I like it. It's the lager that like the Ames lager is a little bit heavier, I think. This is with more crushable. Definitely. So, sponsorship. I probably should not be flashing it, but it's pretty good stuff if you get a chance to get your hands on it. And before the show started, we were texting back and forth earlier in the week about coming back and the possibility that the Marcus Fizer might make it to Ames for this epic showdown against Kansas State football. Are you able to? Or are you not able to?
I mean, I gave it some thought. I think when getting busy throughout the week, I kind of forgotten about it. Now that you brought it up again, I may look and see if that's something I can swing. Speak to the missus about it, see what she thinks. But I mean, I think there's going to be a great game. That's one that I would definitely love to see. If it happens, you guys will be the first to let me know.
Awesome. So we'll in the second half of the show, we'll maybe turn our attention towards football when Brent's online. But basketball, I think we've all been watching this Maui Classic, out in Hawaii. That interestingly, the basketball team played 3 games in about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And here they played three games in a matter of 3 days on this great island of Maui. Game 1 on Monday against Auburn, up big at halftime. I think up by 16 at half.
Yep.
Really felt like we were a Final Four team, and we looked like a Final Four team. And then Auburn came back, and we ended up losing it. A unfortunate turnover real late in the game, which might have given us a chance to win it there in that second half. But any thoughts as you've seen these 3 games play out in Maui?
Well, when you play in tournaments like that, everyone think Hawaii, being away from school, is a lot of fun. It's not a lot of fun. It's not fun at all, especially when you have 3 games in a row. You really can't scout the other teams. It depends on whatever time the games fall. You never really know that until finals. But it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of moving parts. I don't know how early they were out in Hawaii. When we played out in Hawaii in Hilo, I think we went out probably about 4 or 5 days before, and we just did no basketball stuff. We enjoyed the island a little bit, and then we went to the other side where it rained almost every day, and we did nothing but play basketball. So it's a really, really tough grind. I think the guys pretty much fared for the most part for playing well, even though losing that game to Auburn was something that really, really crushed me. I was, I think we were texting and everyone was saying, like, even people on Facebook was like, watching the basketball game? And I told them I was watching the Ravens game. So I was watching Charlie and the Ravens play, and I was recording the game. And then, after that game went off, what was it, about 1 o'clock in the morning, about 11:30 my time, I finished watching it, and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I could probably find the text, and you said something to that effect. I'm glad I didn't see it until the morning, but I woke up and my very first text of the day was from Marcus Fizer.
I was not happy about that. Oh my goodness, I lost a little sleep from that. I thought I was going to be able. We played well, was going to finish it off, and when Broome took that last shot in, I was like, that's befitting. So that was a little deflating, but we're glad to see the guys was able to rebound and finish the tournament strong.
But boy, don't you think though that playing a team we're talking number 4 team, number 5 team by the ratings that are playing each other on a neutral site like Hawaii. Don't you think that that's going to do us more for the team long term than playing some of the teams that we have been playing, from getting us ready for the Big 12 season and just the rigors of playing for the next 2 months, even 3 months through March Madness?
Yeah, absolutely. I can recall my last year when we played over in Hawaii. I mean, we weren't ranked at all, but to play against Cincinnati, who was number 1 team in the nation at the time.
If Kenyon Martin, was that the year with Kenyon?
Yeah, that was that year, that super team that they had. And to play them well early on, getting to understand and learn the new guys that was in, Contrail and, Brandon Hawkins and Jamal Tinsley and some of the other guys that was new in. We were really still trying to find our identity. I think that's when we found our identity and realized how good we were as a team. I think that's when I really realized how good Jamal Tinsley was. And I was like, this is about to be a fun season. Then we went on a run after that. And, because of, facing competition and things like that, it was really, really big for us. So the guys can definitely take from that. Probably would have took a lot more if we would have won the game. But, to play them close like that late, to clean up some of the things that we know we messed up on, being up 16 at the half and not finishing that one out is something that, the guys will definitely learn from. Couldn't right now, because you got to play the next day, leave out of there with some quality wins, get home, get some relaxation and things in you, and then get back to the drawing board.
So you're on an island like Hawaii, and what's the team doing in between these games? Because you got a lot of time, you're in paradise. Is it strictly basketball? Or you mentioned your team, you went there 4 or 5 days early to kind of get that out of the way.
Right.
What was your schedule like in between games? Did you have some downtime to still explore, or were you pretty much confined to your?
Once the games begun, we really didn't do anything. I guess that's the thing that Coach Stacey wanted us to do, to be able to go there and experience the island a couple of days earlier. But once the games began, we really didn't do anything. It was focus, playing the games, getting rest, film, getting rest, and getting up the next day and playing the games and, recycle and repeat. So having so many games in a row, back to back like that against quality opponents, you're not looking to do anything but getting your rest, because it is, I know in the NBA you play back to back, but you're not playing 3 games in a row at crazy different times. And then you're already on a different time zone than your body is accustomed to. So at that point, you're just focusing on doing what you got to do to put a good product on the floor, hopefully build from that and continue on.
Well, I really like watching that game against Auburn. I got excited in that first half and seeing what we look like as a team. Keyshawn is just a man amongst boys at times. He does some special things. In the entire team, at times we shot really well defensively. That court, I don't know if you saw some behind the scenes of that gym, but high school gyms, junior high gyms are probably bigger than what's in Lahaina. And just the backdrop of those portraits that are hanging up on the walls, and it feels like you're shooting, you're basically aiming for the wall because it's so close to the backboard. And boy, having the crowd on top of you like that, I can imagine playing there. It sounds fun, it looks fun to do, but I bet being a player, do you feel claustrophobic having all of the crowd just right on you in a gym like that?
Yeah, it's typically like that when you go to tournaments and things like that. I know it's the United States, but it kind of gives you the feel of like playing like in Puerto Rico or the Bahamas, something like that, where the smaller gyms. And then the elements of how humid it is. Like you never know what you're going to get, what the floor is going to give you. You never know how much you're going to be sweating. That's the biggest thing that I've always had to deal with, is just, how much liquid my jersey retained, because once, the ball hits your jersey and stuff like that, you really can't control what's going to happen. So playing in tournaments like that, that's the one element that's always uncertain. Some guys don't sweat as much as others, but, you try to put on an extra T-shirt, then that's stretched. And then, now you have condensation on the floor. You got all kind of things that's going on. It changes your mindset, the way you play it, different things like that. So there's a lot that comes along with it. Like you said, it's Hawaii, so people think, you're in paradise. It's far from paradise. Trust me, it's far from paradise.
Well, and obviously it ended up being a loss, but if you can take anything out of it, it's a good loss against a good team that, for all practical purposes, they could meet up again in a tournament game, or heaven forbid a Final Four or even a championship game. I mean, that may have been, and there were some really good games in Maui, but that was right up there with one of the top games of the entire tournament. So a lot of fun so far, and came back Tuesday last night or yesterday afternoon in Hawaii time, and beat a feisty Dayton team 89-84. And then today I got a text early this morning from a family member who is a Colorado Buffalo fan, and he just wanted to remind me about the game today. And I told him I'm very well aware of the game, and it was nice to see the Cyclones pull that out. Just really was no contest in the second half.
Yeah.
99 to 71 and got some guys into in the last couple of minutes in particular. Have you been able to make any headwinds on some of the rotations that TJ's putting out there? I'm mildly surprised that he's going pretty deep in the bench this year. I thought we might see him pull back a little bit for this tournament. In a way, it makes sense when you're playing 3 games in a row like they are, but I kind of thought he might settle on a rotation. Do you get the sense that maybe he's not quite set on what he wants, or is this the rotation now and we should get used to playing 8 or 9?
I think it's still early. I mean, we're not that many games until the season, although it may seem like, them playing so many games in Hawaii, is a lot, but we're still early. This is going to be pretty much the competition now, or we just faced how the Big 12 is going to be. So it's good to get more guys out there to see what they can do to help to contribute and what roles and everything like that. So I wasn't surprised about it. I just more focused on like the little nuances and things that I see that we probably need to clean up a lot on. And as long as that continue on, then you should be pretty much positive about the outcome and the aspect of what we're seeing this team and the aspirations we have for this team. It's early. Again, it's early. We're going to run into a lot of bumps in the road in the Big 12. One thing I just don't want to focus on is on their rankings. Like that always gets on the guys, head and things like that, or in their head and stuff like that. And once you play for the rankings, and you lose control or the sense of what you need to do to win. You have teams like look how well Memphis has played out there. And they knocked off some top teams and with some great play. So as long as you focus on playing, I remember the last month and a half, I didn't know where we were ranked at. I was just playing basketball. I literally just wanted to play basketball and just figure out how to win ball games. And when you have that tunnel vision, then the rest falls in line.
Any thoughts on just the overall play of those bigs? I know you love the bigs, and we've got a couple new ones that joined this year, Deshaun Jackson and Joshua Jefferson. Thoughts on their play thus far?
I'm pretty solid. I would love to see a lot more dominance, a lot more rebounding, a lot more harder rebounding. Like one of the things that I would do, I would always test the referees to see how far they're going to allow me to go. And it's something I used to have to tell the coaching staff, no matter where I played, college or pros or whatever, I'm going to either get, a flagrant foul or offensive foul, because I'm going to see how hard and how aggressive they allow me to, rebound the ball, rebound the ball, because I'm going to slam somebody to the floor just to see their reaction. If I slam them to the floor because they're not being aggressive and the referee doesn't do anything, it's going to be a long night for them. If I slam them to the floor and they call offensive foul, I'm walking to the other end because I expected that. So you got to come out with that aggressiveness from the beginning and just set the tone. And if anything, that's the one thing that I would like them to do, with Jackson and Jefferson. They're pretty big kids. You shouldn't have no problem, dominating the inside and just going from there. So
Jefferson reminds me a little bit of you in terms of stature, and he's able to play inside and outside, which I appreciate. And he's swift-footed, I think. Jackson's a little bit more of that burly. He's got that thick chest. I wanted to have Brent on because he reminds me of what Brent would look like as a basketball player, although a little bit taller, but he's got that kind of burly chest on him, which that gets me excited too, because he's going to be up against a lot of big post players, and you want that thick guy that can take some abuse down low.
Yeah. I've been, like I said before, I've been on Josh since he was 8 or 9 years old, when he was a little short, fat kid who was running around the gym.
Yeah, I'm sure he appreciates you calling him a fat kid.
He was a little short, fat kid for sure. When he started playing basketball, he was a lot bigger than everyone else, and dominated these kids from grade school to junior high, and you can just see him get taller and better and better. I think he's a lot more athletic than what he's showing. I don't know if he's afraid of injuries or something like that happening. He's really, really skilled, can shoot the ball, can handle it. And I'm looking forward to him, breaking a little bit more out of that shell. I wasn't the happiest with him in his play when he was, at St. Mary's because, like I said, I've watched him for so many years. I know the talent that he has, and I've seen him, beat Bishop Gorman and, the teams that I coached against him with Coronado and, Silverado and all the rest of those different teams here in Vegas. So I'm just waiting for him to break out of that shell to, really, really take dominance of being that, 4 or 5 big. Because like you said, I'm biased about that position and looking forward to, him doing a lot more as the season progresses.
Is he one of those kids that started out more as an off guard and shooter where if he was shorter, he had to play and learn and develop his ball handling skills?
No, he was always a big. He's always a big. He's just always been skilled and talented. Like one of the things that I've always tried to state, like people say, Anthony Davis was a point guard in high school. No, he was shorter and just can handle the ball. That didn't make him no point guard. Like, people need to get away from you being able to handle calling you a guard. Like, there's a lot of responsibilities that come with being a guard that people don't want. So he's just always been a skilled big. He's been bigger than a lot of the other kids and stuff. So as he got taller, 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", you can see the talent and the skill. And he was just, his senior year here at Liberty High School, they won a state championship, and he just had a great year.
Well, and another point that I think that they made it sort of after the fact, but there was at one point in the game, last night's game, where Deshaun Jackson went up a little bit later in the game against Dayton, where we really needed him to make some free throws, and boom, he made both back to back. And that's one thing that I think was missing in some of previous seasons under TJ with our bigs. Robert Jones last year, he was suitable, but he wasn't really that true physical inside presence, and he struggled at the free throw line. I remember when Deshaun Jackson was announced his commitment to Iowa State, and I saw some video. It was clear that he could shoot and he could make his free throws because I think his field goal percentage with Charlotte was fairly high. I think that adds another dimension that, boy, if you feed the guy down low and he's going to make his free throws, that's going to have a big impact down the road. And it already showed up last night against Dayton.
Yeah, and like I said, it's early, but I'm looking forward to them breaking out of that shell. Like, be the dominant, talented team that you are, top to bottom. You can't. Keyshawn had great games the first couple games, and this last game he didn't score a ton, but we had a great game overall. It's going to have to be that type of cohesiveness of a team. When you don't have any egos or anything like that, just play basketball and to win, the rest will fall in line because there's going to be some games where the guards, get off. There's going to be some games where the bigs get off. I want to see some of those 2010, 2015, 2020 games like, Broome has had over this Maui tournament. So understanding that you guys have that same type of talent, that same type of ability, go out and do it. Go out and get it, and just continue to figure out what's the best thing for the ball club and to win these games.
We should be taking notes down so when you're back in January, that you're going to have an opportunity to talk to that team. Probably need to start your list of things to words of wisdom.
There's no list of anything as a hooper that I will have to jot down. I hadn't been approached about anything about speaking to them, but I mean, if that happens, that happens. And I'm always for, passing along little nuggets and things like that. As the old head, as they will call me now, to these young cats. But, they get, if they're looking up to what we did, they got some big shoes to fill. But I don't have no problem with, giving them different little kind of nuggets and things like that I've been taught. That's one of the things I've always done. I've always taken something from players I probably didn't have no business taking things from, guards and things like that. Like a lot of people took a lot of stuff from Kobe, and I did the same. One of the things I took from him is how many times. Like I remember one game we were in L.A. He pump faked me. I was guarding him, pump faked me in the lane like 7 times, and I mean just pumping, just kept. And I turned to look at the referee, and I was like, "Come on, man!" And when I turned, he shot right over the top of me and scored. And I was like, "He can't pump fake 7 times in the lane." Like, so little different things like that. Like, how I love shot blockers from then on. Because you get to the middle, you give them the fake, you give them that second fake, they're jumping. So little nuances and things like that. How to step in when the ball is, when the guard is penetrating. Jamal Tinsley and them used to hate it because Mike Nurse definitely used to hate it because as soon as he penetrated, I step in front of my guy, and he know you say he's going to make him drop it low. But it's those little things that you can pick up from different players and help your game progress.
When you talked earlier a bit about the team play, and one night it's having no egos. One night it's going to be the guards that are going off. Another it's going to be the bigs. It's going to be Milan Momcilovic. You just don't know where it's going to come from. One thing that on today's text chain during the game was this team does such a nice job, not perfect always, but they do a nice job at passing to the guy in front. And you texted back, well, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well, you don't always see that with all teams, whether it's Iowa State or Kentucky or any other program. But you're right. I think this team seems to like each other. They play well together, and they are looking for the open shooter.
Well, when you're playing hard on the floor and you're flying around and you're trying to make plays, like there were times and instances, you say, get your hand up, I'll get you out. And I raised my hand, and he'd never take me out the game. But, I mean, like we're playing so hard, like there are times and moments where you really don't have that energy or whatever. So I might get a rebound or a steal or whatever, and they take off. And that's a break. You throw it ahead, and I can the more and more times on the fast break that I didn't have to cross half court, I loved it because now if we're crossing half court and we get in the set and they're dropping the ball low, what the defender's doing to me, they're beating me to death. So that's not no fun for me. Like I would love to be ahead of the fast break, getting the dunks or scoring it. But if I'm not ahead of that fast break, man, I get that ball and throw it out so fast. And if we don't get the fast break score, you will see me try down a little bit afterwards. So that's the way it's supposed to be. If it's a rebound, if it's a steal, and somebody is ahead of you, get that ball up, run the break, score easy baskets. Those are easy baskets. And, get the score up higher and higher. That brings down the morale of the other team that you're facing.
Well, and as a fan, that type of basketball is so fun to watch. It reminds me, I'm at that age where I remember the Showtime Lakers, and boy, they would turn that defense into offense, and that's a little bit what Iowa State's how they play. They play intense defense, one of the, if not but one of the top defending teams in the country, and it becomes their offense.
Yeah, we couldn't in practice. We couldn't go on offense until we got a stop on defense. Everything was defensive oriented. You had to get 3 stops in a row, and on the third stop, you can go on offense. So if you got 2 stops and they did something and scored on the third, then the resets over. So now that's building your focus is to get a stop. And once we got that third stop, man, we run it. And so that's the mentality and that's the mindset that we had. We had to get a stop to get on the offensive end to, everybody wants to play offense. That's the fun side of the ball. Doing good things on the defensive end is always good, but we all know everyone loves the offensive side of the ball. So we would get the stop, lock in, run on break, score the ball or whatever, and then stop and reset it all over again.
And then you thought you were going to play offense, and Eustace would say, "Oh no, go ahead, Marcus, keep playing defense."
He used to do that quite often. He used to always flip me on the other side, the other team. So like I'll be on defense, and we play however many possessions, and then, when it's time to flip on offense, he keep me on the defensive team. Like, well, it is what it is.
That's awesome. Yeah, another team that plays really well together, and they suffered a loss last week against UNI is the Iowa State women. Actually, it was I think not as close as it could have been, but they ended up playing up at UNI. Maya McDermott, who plays for the Panthers, scored 37 points, and another character building game. I think Coach Fennelly had some comments after the game that had alluded to, we play these tough games. The men, they don't play. Now, granted, we were playing Auburn's and some of those, but the in-state games, those kids that are playing for those other schools, they have something to prove. They got a little chip on their shoulder. And I think that when they're playing the Iowa States and the University of Iowa, those UNI and Drakes they're a formidable opponent. They play really tough.
Yeah, those in-state rivalry games are always the tough ones because of the magnitude of how we all feel about each other's programs, good, bad, or indifferent. But, it's never a surprise. If you're on the losing end of it, of course, it's upsetting, but it's never a surprise that I guess you would say David is going to slay Goliath. So that always happens each and every year. I can't recall the last time any one team, men or women, swept the state, because it's always going to be that team that's going to get a W when you least expect it. And it's one of those games that, I watched that game, and the McDermott lady, she looked female, she was, scoring it from all over. I mean, it's just one of those nights. And Audie really couldn't get it going. She was trying to, figure out some different places, different roles to really get it going. And it's just one of those games. You don't falter for that. But like you said, character building, you understand it happened. We lost to Drake, and I don't think we scored 90 points total in the whole game that year. So it happens, and you build off of it, and you figure out the rest going the rest of the season.
And the women did bounce back with a win on Sunday at home against Drake. That was a really close game. I was in attendance at that. Audie Crooks scored on a last-second shot with 0.3 seconds. She finally is nailing a couple of those fallback jumpers that I shared with you that I've been seeing her at least trying to attempt. So that's good to see, adding that to her repertoire. But Katie Dinnebier for Drake scored 39 points. Boy, that was a really scrappy Drake team. I think they're going to be really successful in the Valley, and having these games for the women, I think it's one of those character builders to play the UNIs, to play the Drakes, that we're going to have tough games in the Big 12. So let's go ahead and get a little bit tested now, because, let's face it, the teams that we were playing were average at best, and they just weren't very good. And so playing these top-notch in-state schools, I think, are really going to do us well, much like the men playing Auburn and Dayton and Colorado are going to do for the men.
Yeah. Don't they play tomorrow? What time is the game?
So, they play tomorrow against South Carolina. South Carolina is coming off a loss against UCLA. Mm-hmm. I think that's their first loss in forever, like 40-some-odd games, undefeated streak, and they play 12:30 on the Big Channel on Fox.
12:30 Central?
That's what I had seen.
Okay. Yeah, I would have hoped they wouldn't have lost that game before facing our ladies, but that's going to be a tough one. But I mean, like last year when we faced up against Stanford, went toe to toe with them. They definitely have the talent and the team to do so. I'm definitely going to be front and center watching that one. Yeah, I'm not going to record that one.
I'm going to have to find a way to stream it on my phone while it's on my lap during dinner, but I'm going to find a way as well. Mm-hmm. All right, let's.
You don't have the TV on during dinner?
What's that?
You don't have the TV on during the Thanksgiving dinner?
I don't know. I can't. We're not going to be at my house, so
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of relying on the family, and I don't think there's a television. Maybe I don't know.
Get you like an earpiece and just have it in your ear.
Well, at least I can say I'm doing work. This is research. I got to prepare for the show. That's just how it is.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go ahead and take a quick timeout with a commercial break. Here, a word from both of our sponsors, from Revelton and from Green Beret Realty.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com.
So, Marcus, before we jump into the Green Beret Realty ad, Shipley finally busted that bottle. So he purchased a couple of bottles going down to Kansas City that Rob Taylor signed. He finally busted it out for the Cincinnati game. Bottle's gone. I'm telling you, they make good stuff. They really do.
I think he's been waiting for that one.
Oh, and again, the cream liqueur is just fantastic, especially now that the weather in Central Iowa's gotten cold. And here you are telling me, oh, it's kind of chilly in Las Vegas. We're at mid to upper 60s. We're going to be this football game that's coming up. Our high for the day is supposed to be like 28 degrees. And then by kickoff in the, I think, lower 20s.
I don't think we get 20s until January.
Oh, whatever. Okay, hold on. Here. Let's hear a word from Green Beret.
When energy meets precision, anything is possible.
I'm Carter Hawley, the Chief Energy Officer of the Iowa State Cyclones. I'm full of energy on and off the court, but nothing gives me more energy than helping families find their dream home. And that's where Green Beret Realty comes in. They're more than just realtors. They're a team dedicated to getting things right for you and your family, just like we get it right on the court. Sometimes it takes a team to get the call right. And when you're buying a home, you want a team that makes all the right calls. That is Green Beret Realty. And here's the best part. When you buy or sell a home through Dan at Green Beret Realty and mention this ad, he'll make a donation to the We Will Collective, helping student athletes like me thrive on and off the court.
Green Beret Realty, because getting the call right means everything.
All right, we are back for another episode, the second half here of In the Side of the Storm. You know, I've seen some ads there that Dan's put out. That's pretty cool with Conrad Howell. I saw Conrad, even though through his shoulder injury, he still made the trip to Hawaii okay.
Now, it may have been fun for him. It may have been fun for him, but some trips, like, I mean, even in the NBA, like if you're injured and stuff like that, some trips you just don't want to go on. It's just, I mean, it's just, you know, I'd rather be at home, you know, getting rehab at home and, you know, training at home, and I can watch the game on the TV. Some teams make you go, but, you know, some teams is like, don't even risk it. Just stay home and relax. Because if you got an ankle injury or lower body injury and you in the snow or something and you got to walk upstairs, why even, you know, mess with it? But
yeah,
guys tend to not miss the LA trips or to Miami and stuff like that. May not make the one to Detroit, but definitely making it to Phoenix
and Hawaii. Hey, show us your. I like your shirt there. You want to show everybody?
Yeah, I was looking
at the storm.
I was looking at his shirt on the court, and I was like, why does that shirt look familiar? And then I looked down, I was like, Okay.
That's right, I have
That's what
one.
that is. Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
you haven't made reference. I've got the Conrad Holly mustache going for Movember.
Oh, I forgot all about that this year. I usually do no shave November.
Yeah.
Where it's just
Well, I used to do the whole beard, but there's too
Mhm.
much gray now. So I just go with the mustache, and there's still a lot of gray there. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't think my wife is really crazy about it because she ain't saying nothing about it this year.
It's not too late. Well, you didn't grow it this year, so you just got
I totally I thought about that like a couple of days ago, and I was like, oh, the whole month of November is gone. It's too late now.
yeah. Well, football, big game this weekend.
Whew.
I spoke. Let's see. We played Cincinnati, beat them. I made reference about seeing Shipley up at the game and tailgating with the ambulance, and it's always fun to have people stop by and just say hello. It's always fun to greet viewers and people that listen to the podcast. And then last week, a late game or a later game, another night game, 31-28 against Utah. That, I tell you what, I was never comfortable, but yet the same token, I felt like we just kicked their butt up and down the field.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've heard much of the local radio or podcast that in the fans on Twitter, but at the end of the day, we beat Utah quite well. I know the score didn't necessarily reflect it, but offensively, I felt like we had some flow to it. Defensively, I thought we played much better. We got Sadowski's now back at linebacker. We have Will McLaughlin who's back at linebacker. Defensively, we just seem to be playing better. What really hurt us were special teams, and then that pick six that Rocco threw. Otherwise, we look really good against Utah.
Yeah, it's amazing. You always say shoulda, woulda, coulda, but it's amazing like where we would be sitting. Like we were playing well before we lost those two, to Tech and to Kansas. And man, if we would have locked in, especially on one against Texas Tech. No, was it Texas Tech? Who was it? Was it Tech? The first loss.
Yeah, that was Tech.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
At home. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we would have locked in on that one. And
we lost Texas Tech at home, then at KU in Arrowhead.
Yeah, right. So if we would have locked in on those, man, we will be – because I don't have a problem. I hate losing, but don't have a problem understanding it's about being competitive, and there's going to be a winner and a loser. Losing that Kansas game, okay, or whatever, on the road. Losing that
Kansas
Texas
playing
game
really well right now.
They're playing well.
Three teams in a row ranked in the top 25. The first time ever any team has done that with a losing record. That's impressive.
But I still think we're a better team than both of those teams. And so when you think about, man, if we would have pulled those out, going into these last couple of games and into the Big 12 tournament, definitely we would be in the driver's seat. But now we got to, fight for that position, which I don't have a problem with either. It's going to help build what we need going forward. But this thing is not over, so hopefully we can do what we got to do this weekend.
Yeah, we really beat up on Utah, and I think fans are going a little bit overboard with concern. But the real concern that I see is we're going up against K-State, who's starting to come into their own. They had some early season struggles as well, and they went through that early part and have figured it out. And Avery Johnson, their quarterback, is a dual threat. So I'll be curious to see how our defense does against a running quarterback, because we are not that good against the run. Utah, their offense is awful. Quarterback can't throw. The running backs can't run. And so I think our defense was able to sort of dictate the tempo of that portion of the game. Where Kansas State, it's going to be a little bit different. And I do have my concerns there, that I'm hoping that we figured out our stuff on defense to the point where, and I said the same thing last week. I think John Heacock has a plan. I trust in our defense. I trust in Heacock as a coach that he knows how to stop Avery Johnson. He knows how to stop Kansas State.
Well, yeah, if early on with quarterbacks like that, you have to try to do the best you can to contain them and don't let them get into a rhythm. You have the anomalies like Lamar Jackson that, I mean, there's nothing you're going to do with that type of a quarterback. You know, that guy runs 15 yards backwards and then he's 25 yards up the sideline in the blink. But, you know, dealing with quarterbacks like that, you have to try to contain them as best as you can. And just don't let nobody else get off. Like if they're going to try to move the ball, you know, not throwing it in the air, then you just got to make sure that you don't allow something to happen that's crazy. Someone get over the top and he's able to throw it, you know, in the air and score touchdowns. So I think with it being home, night game, things like that is something that we should be able to pull out.
What did you think in that fourth quarter, 2-minute timeout, third down, and Taylor Mauser dialed up that Carson Hansen halfback throw to Gabe Burkle? What was going through your mind when you saw that?
I start clapping loud. My 10-year-old daughter, my wife says she's a hater. She hates when someone else has excitement that's not involving her. So she said, "Dad, you're clapping too loud." And it's like, I don't care. Like, it's just the excitement of it all. It's something that we come to expect, and it's something that's good to see happen and execute extremely well. And then it gives me a sense of, yeah, we belong. A sense of I didn't expect anything otherwise, along with having a sense of nervousness at the same time. But being able to execute it is always a great thing, because people really, we spoke before, you know, we got on about, you know, the commitment of the player, and players are starting to look at Iowa State football, basketball, other sports as, you know, a team that's, you know, to be reckoned with, organization to be working with. So we definitely love that.
I want to show something here. Let's see if I can show it there. So Chris Shipley says, Marcus, those shirts are 30% off for Black Friday, by the way.
Oh, nice.
So for those that might be interested, I'm sure that Chris will somehow post the link on our social media accounts. And I think that is probably a nice welcome gift for our loved ones for the holidays. Whether it's a sweatshirt, I think there's hats that are out there, some T-shirts, long sleeve shirts. I believe there's a 3/4 zip that I've had my eye on. So you can get those. Well, so, you know, coming back to the game, as soon as Hansen threw that ball, honest to goodness, my heart just stopped, and I gasped and just held my breath until Burkle hauled it in and went down. But the balls for Taylor Mauser to dial that up, I was impressed, because, you know, there's been a lot of seasons where we've had pretty vanilla offenses.
Right.
And we sort of teased, and we had Mauser on the show, and he admitted that, yeah, he loves playing video games, and he's been known to steal some things out of a video game that he has liked. And as soon as that ball was thrown, I thought, you know what? That's probably on EA Sports College Football. Yeah. Right.
Well, I'm fine with it. You know, I think we've had the ability in the past to do it, but like you said, no one has had the guts to do it. But at the same time, if, you know, the other powerhouse schools are doing it and we feel like we belong, we have to take those chances. And then when you take those chances and we execute it, then you show absolutely we belong. We're not just going out here in cool jerseys with Nike checks on them, you know, just to look good. Like, we out here to play ball, period, point blank, and to show that we have that kind of moxie and out here to compete. That's what we're here for.
So I talked before about this last game of the year in the Jack. We think there's still an outside chance that we host a playoff game, which is remarkable to even think about. But this has been a special season. We're 9-2, first time we've ever won 9. I'm not counting that 1906 year or whatever that was where we won 9, but this is the first time in the modern era where Iowa State has won 9 games in the season before we even hit the bowl games. So we sit 9-2, and we're a program that, as fans, we've all been kicked in the nuts before and had some close games and opportunities to go play in the Big 12 championship game to represent like the Big 12 North at that time. And I know Brent was on a couple of those teams that were really close to getting into those games. But this is a real opportunity for Iowa State, for our alma mater, for the program, for the entire university and the fan base, that this is our chance to really present ourselves in front of a national audience. And I know the students are going to be gone. I've already talked to my son. I said, I don't know what you got to do, but you got to call everybody and text everybody to get their butts up in that stadium on Saturday night. Have them come back a day early. Mom and dad will understand. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we have a chance to do something really special and to be the representative or a representative for the Big 12 in the Big 12 championship game with a win. Now, I know that there's different scenarios that still have to play themselves out, but for all practical purposes, a win, and we're in. And there's an outside chance that there's some funky stuff that could still happen that we just got to let that play out. But, boy, I'm really excited. I'm nervous. But as a fan, send all your friends and family, buy some Christmas tickets early, hand them out at Thanksgiving, stuff them in the turkey. I don't care. Just let's make sure that we're up there and packing the jack this weekend.
Yeah, to feel like we belong, and this is a situation that is not like before, goes a long way. Because as you say, we have this opportunity to do something that in the past we hadn't been able to do. And to have that confidence, it's just two programs competing against each other. There's going to be a winner, there's going to be a loser. Again, I understand that there has to be a loser, and I can accept losing, even though I don't like to lose, but understand that the best team should win, and the best team do the things to win. My last year playing down in Kansas, I don't want to think it's arrogant or anything like that, but playing in Kansas, you can make me believe that they were going to beat us that game. I just knew we were the better team. I don't care how tough the game is going to be. It went down to me making a crazy shot at the end of the game to put us over the top, but we were the better team. So if you do the things that you got to do to be the better team, to be the team that you are, you should be victorious, no matter how tough and how hard the game is. And I think we're going to do that Saturday night.
Well, and in your team, that 2000 team, 99-2000, that was a very special team. And as players, you all remember it. You remember the feeling of your final games, whether it's at Kansas or in Hilton Coliseum. You remember that. You remember the fans. And you know what? As fans, we remember. And right. I really think Saturday is another one of those that we're all going to remember where we were. And you don't want to be, I remember I was sitting at home. No, you want to remember being in Jack Trice and that feeling, that sense, once the clock hits zeros, that, hey, we're going to be in the Big 12 championship game with an opportunity to go to the college football playoff.
Yeah, now you make me really want to try to see what the flights look like to get back there.
Marcus, I will make sure you have a ticket. You get your butt here and consider it done.
If I get there, I'm walking to the Campbell office. I'm walking to the Campbell office. I'm going to the football, whoever the equipment manager is, trying to find me some, sweatshirts or something. I'm gonna need some winter clothes. I'm out here in short sleeve shirts and stuff and shorts. So we're gonna see what can happen. I'd much
true.
rather
I imagine
something
your
going to the
tickets will
Big 12.
probably be on the field.
Hopefully, but see, that's the thing. Like that takes me out of the fan element of it. Like when I go to basketball games, I don't like sitting on the floor on the court because I mean you like you can't see anything. Like I like being able to sit above and up a little bit and be able to watch the whole field like I'm watching it on the game. Like I know they would want me to be on the field, but I would absolutely hate that.
Well, again, you find your way to Ames. I've got row 14, and I think it'd be cool if the three of us are sitting there and people are going, "Hey, is that Brent Gervais? Hey, is that Marcus Fizer?"
There's going to be some older people. Those kids not going to know who we are.
Yeah, they're going to go, "Who the hell is that?"
I'm fine with that. Let me enjoy the game.
I love it. So there's my plea to the Iowa State community. Hey, make sure you're getting up to Ames this weekend. Again, these players have been working their butts off for years. It's also senior night, so get there early. I would say get there probably by 6 o'clock, maybe even 5:45. Get your seat so you can watch the pregame, watch the players come out. I think there's that infamous meme where Coach Campbell said goodbye to Brock Purdy and that senior class and had a little tear in his eye that he was trying to fight back. But this is another special senior group, and let's take them out in style and pack Jack Trice and cheer them on to an opportunity to go to the Big 12 championship game and ultimately a college football playoff game.
That will be the life.
All right. Well, that's been another episode of In the Side of Storm. Brent, sorry we have missed you this go around, but we'll catch you next time, and hopefully we'll see everybody on Saturday and against Kansas State. Go Cyclones.